Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Crypto City. And now, please welcome to the stage your host, CityGirl.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us this week on Crypto City. Only a few more weeks before AltSpace goes away. And I have to say, although I'm quite sad to be losing this platform, I've been really impressed watching many of the creators of all levels stepping up and, stepping outside their comfort zone and creating across new platforms. It's so motivating knowing that opportunities exist for all of us in here and that there'll be so much exploring to do. There's going to be worlds to see, places to visit, events to check out. And while it's a little challenging figuring out where the next move is for some, many are actually embracing the metaverse as a whole and jumping into several neighborhoods. So it's going to be an exciting time. And actually, one of our AltSpace OGs, Aussie guy, put it best in a recent social post. He likened this transition to like high schoolers going off to college. Some will be with their friends and some will visit their friends on special occasions. And hopefully there'll be attentions of reunions periodically. It's really a coming of age for all of us. So back to reality. A fun fact about City Girl that most of you won't know is that my degree is in computer science, but it wasn't my first choice. I actually got all my scholarships in graphic arts. I love to be creative, but there was more money in computers at the time, so I went in that direction. Later, though, I combined my skills and went back for certificate degrees in web design and actually ran my own side business creating websites for small businesses. It was really fulfilling. For a while, it was like, I was so involved in it, but it actually just became too difficult to juggle with my full-time job. So I kind of stopped doing it and focused on, making money where I was making money. But the last couple of years being in here in VR and watching all that's on the horizon has just been so exciting for me to see the combination of where design and computers has actually gone, especially like, AI art and, VR world building, augmented reality programs, NFTs, just like the whole creativity as a package to me is just fantastical. And, it makes me as much as I really want to get back into do creative things. Right now, my schedule doesn't quite afford it to me, but my goal is going to be to make it a priority. We had Cyber Shay on last week, and she was talking about going, into school in here, and I'm going to try and fit some of that stuff into my schedule in my limited downtime, and try to learn a little bit more about creativity in here because I really have, the exciting feeling when I'm watching all of the stuff being done in here, and I really want to be part of it. So keep your eyes open. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be the host of Crypto City, but I actually might be trying to learn a little bit more skills and, add a little bit more to the whole. Um, and see where that goes. But a little news bit I wanted to share with you before I bring out this week's guest. Our friend Miggy is back to tell us a little bit more about Web3 stuff going on. Can't wait to talk to him. But how fun is this? If you didn't see, Switch watchmaker Blow has partnered again with Japanese artist Murakami for a collection of real world watches linked to NFTs. There's 12 NFTs that are tied to 13 watches, and one will be available to people who purchased one of the 324 NFTs released back in April of 2022 by the same team. But they're putting a little twist on it. The 12 NFTs can be bought and then sold on OpenSea until April of 2024. If one of the collectors can get all 12 of the NFTs, they'll be eligible to purchase the exclusive Classic Fusion Takashi Murakami Black Ceramic Rainbow Watch, which is super, everybody's been wanting this. It's very coveted. So that person, if they were able to collect all 12 of those NFTs, is going to have the ability to get that watch. If no one ends up collecting them and they end up staying spread out throughout the community, no harm, no foul. What they're going to do is they're going to auction off that watch for charity. Oh, that's great. I mean, it's so exciting. It's a little bit of fun mixed in. Here we have somebody who's, rolling in money, who's willing to do something to give back, but they're also, stepping into, the NFT world and making it fun. And, these people that are, if you're buying one of these watches, you've got a little bit of money. You can afford to buy an NFT and, they're growing it into different communities. So that's great to see. So, without further ado, I'd like to bring out our guest tonight, the one and only Miggy Celis. Miggy, come on down and join us, please.
Oh, what's up?
Hey,
What's up,
Miggy.
everybody? Let me get
Thanks for
settled into
joining
this
us.
chair here. All right. What's up? What's up? Happy to be here. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, of course.
It's
Thank you for
always fun to
joining
be
us.
here.
We always love having you on. So you've been
Yeah,
super busy. I've been watching your socials. You've been all over the place. You did like a cross country road trip. But I did see that you went down and you were presenting at one of the award ceremonies for, it was best mobile game. Is that what it was?
yeah, it was cool. Somebody in the Web3 space decided to put together a Gamers' Choice Awards. Much similar to traditional Gamers' Choice Awards that we see, but they wanted to curate it just for the Web3 games. And I was fortunate to get to present the award for the best mobile game, which a game called Guild of Guardians was the winner. And it was a really cool experience. They had it decked out, real nice area. They had people dressed up real nice. Of course, I was degenerate as could be in my jeans and hoodie, but it was a good time. It was a good experience. All the major games in the Web3 space were there, so it was really cool because it would have been like the first Gamers Choice Awards with traditional games, just a small community. And so what I got to spend time with some big projects that I see in the future will be pretty dominating. But it was cool being on stage.
It's pretty exciting. It's funny because I listened to your speech and you were talking about like cell phones and how they're, such a big part of our lives. And, nobody doesn't have a cell phone at this point. It's how we function. But it was interesting when I was listening to you speak. I was thinking to myself, okay, so a few years ago, everybody was like, "Ooh, Candy Crush!" Like that was the big thing. And there's a few games that people play on their phones and stuff. But do you see going forward, with all the stuff we have going on with VR and with all of the PC based games and everything, do you think that phone-based games are going to continue to rise, or do you think we're going to see that kind of plateau off?
Um, I mean, honestly, with as much interaction, people have on their phones, I think that eventually we're going to see it evolve even more. A lot of us believe as far as like mass adoption and reaching, a large audience, having a mobile game that is tied to Web3 is going to be important just because everybody does have a phone in their pocket. Uh, but we are going to see, I think, the gaming space evolve. And no matter what, I mean, phones are always going to be involved just because it gives us an access point that's immediately reachable. It's in our pockets, it's in our hand, it's on our
Mm.
dashboard in our car, and I think it's just going to continue to grow. We'll never get away from mobile gaming. I think it'll just evolve to where more AR type stuff, and hopefully to see some type of inclusion with VR and glasses or something. But yeah, I think it's here to stay for sure.
Love to hear that. And I actually, I'm hoping that they're going to come out with, obviously AR has been just, leaps and bounds, all the different things that people are doing with it. But I would love to see something along the lines of, maybe like an adult Pokemon, like something that was more like a scavenger hunt for people to get them out there. And, we work so hard all week, And the weekends come and we're trying to fit in all our errands and things like that, and take care of the things we don't get done during the week. It would be wonderful if they came up with something that incorporated daily lifestyle into some sort of an entertainment piece. Like maybe it's a scavenger hunt for people who hit certain things, then you get rewarded, whether it's with NFTs or some sort of real life item that just to make life in general more enjoyable, something along those lines.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just like I don't know if you are familiar with like geocaching, but that's pretty
Yes.
popular where you get to go on these hunts and searches, and you never really know what you're gonna find. And so, with NFC chips or RFID chips, there's a lot of potential that you could do all these similar things and embed, an NFT in one of these chips and have it in a physical real world item that you get to go on a hunt or, as you said, and like go search for it and it's cool. I think the appeal to have it on the phone works for now, but it is very limited. And I think, AR, more interaction with the real world and the digital world is where we're going to see a big push, being able to be in both spaces at the same time instead of having to choose one or the other. But I haven't gone to
Absolutely.
geocaching yet. I really want to though.
I've heard a lot of people, get really sucked into it, and they'll spend quite a bit of time, but it is kind of nice because it gets people out and active too, and it gets you out there doing things and checking out places that you probably wouldn't go to regularly.
Right, exactly. You get to explore cool places, you get to see things you've never seen, knows, you might end up on a beach somewhere in your hometown if you live by the ocean and, get to go to a cool spot and find something, that's exciting. I've had a couple friends that do it, and I keep telling myself I'm going to get involved just because of my interest in, like I said, getting it with an RFID chip or some kind of chip where I can get an NFT, where it's like, hey, go out in the world, go find these things, and when you scan it, maybe you get a cool NFT out of it.
I think you need to find some people to create a program that sends me to all the beaches of the world. And I'll be the test person for them. If they need somebody to go out there and see if this works, I'm all over it. I will go out there and I will go to all the beaches and make sure the geocaching works.
Yes, definitely. We go to the
So last
mountains.
time you were on, you were telling us about the project that you're working on, Altera. So is this, this has been moving along, you mentioned it's still a ways out, but I have seen quite a few more promos for this in social media, which is pretty interesting. So earlier we were kind of talking and you said there's, an NFT drop coming with that. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. Me shout out my man Doug here, who's out there working with us on Altera, one of our alpha ambassadors. So one thing that we've been trying to do is just trying to adapt, to the changing space, and how even in the last year or so things have evolved. And so what we've come up with, we put a lot of work into this. We put a lot of thought behind it. We're getting ready to drop what we're calling our guild membership NFT. And what this is going to be associated with our game. As some of you may know, when it comes to Web3 games, often a big feature of it is the earning side of it, where you can monetize your gameplay, not just as like a content creator, not just as somebody who's involved with esports or somebody who's really good at win tournaments, but in a sense that, all your time that's being invested into these games is rewarded. And so we've separated those mechanics for our game to where we designed this NFT to be more involved with the earning side. Because what we've seen in the last couple years with Web3 games or play to earn games is that the mechanics of the earn and the play get congested. And for most gamers, they just want to play a fun game. Myself, we just want to jump into something that's fun and exciting, engaging, and have a good time. I think we
Mm.
talked about this last time that, the gaming industry is massive. Since COVID, it's just continually grown. It outweighs entertainment and sports combined. And so what we know is that there's a whole lot of people on this planet putting in a bunch of money just to have fun. They're not monetizing their time, they're not monetizing their gameplay. They're just playing because they enjoy it. And so with our guild membership NFT, we decided to make sure that our gamers could still do that, that they could still into this game when it's ready and play it. And it can still earn, That won't be the whole metric of the game. Now, if you're somebody who's a little bit more Web3 savvy or a little bit more interested in the business side of things, that, hey, I want to get in a Web3 game and I want to actually make money. There's a lot of people out there like that. I'm definitely finding more interest myself in that side of gaming where it's like, hey, if I can make money playing games, why not? So with this
Mm.
NFT, that is what we're using to activate the business side, the earning side of it. Essentially, what it is, for those of you who are familiar with MMORPGs, which are role-playing games, many of those often have shops. You go into this game, and let's say you need a sword, or sometimes you can craft it on your own, but most cases you have to go and buy it, or you go buy potions. You go to these little
Mhm.
shops where you can buy different things. You can buy new clothes, you can buy you a little hat, buy you weapons, whatever you want. And in all these games, those are ran by NPCs, avatars that are not controlled by anybody. They're just part of the game. And so what we've decided to do is that instead of that business being run by a computer, we're going to let that be run by an NFT holder. So if you wanted to earn in the game, you could actually buy this membership and you'll get to run a business essentially in our MMORPG. So you'll be the shopkeeper. You'll be the one selling the swords. You'll be the one selling the ore, or selling the potions, the clothing, and in a way where that way, if you want to make money playing the game, well, guess what? You can. You get to run a shop, a little business in this game, and what you choose to sell is up to you. Now that's like one of the most basic functions that we've provided for this NFT. We've actually, like I said, put a lot of thought into this. And so on top of that, we've added just a bunch of really cool features. In addition to monetization in our game, having access to a special membership dashboard, we've also given, most NFT projects perks. We given benefits for it. So if you're an NFT holder, you get access to our events. Let's say you're in Utah and you come out to one of our events. Well, if you buy a general admission pass and you're an NFT holder, you automatically get upgraded to VIP. And and also one thing that we're doing for our membership holders is that we've started we're paving the road to have a live action series. So when we introduced ourselves, we created a live action teaser trailer, which we filmed. Had real people in costume. The whole bang. It was amazing. And so what we've decided to do is to extend that into an actual series. And so as a guild membership NFT holder, we're going to be doing random drawings periodically where we're going to invite our holders at different periods of time to come and be a cameo in our game in our live action series.
Exciting. That's so
Yes, yeah,
exciting.
right. So let's say you buy this NFT, because you want to make money in a game. So that's, always a plus. On top of that, you get special things like VIP access. Then who knows, you might win a chance, you might get asked to cameo in our story. So you get the opportunity to get dressed up, get maybe some makeup on and get plugged into our live action series. And we've stacked on a ton of other cool things for that. But those were initially some of the things we wanted to do to bring value. Another thing that we just to go, as I said, because of the way that the space has changed so much, we've really decided to push, interoperability. I know those of you who may get to hear, different people talk about stuff like this, you probably hear that word thrown around a lot, interoperability. For those who may not know what that means, it just basically means being able to take one NFT and move it across different spectrums, different spaces. Instead of having to buy this NFT for this game, buy this NFT for that game, buy this NFT for that
Mm.
metaverse, we've decided to work with some very great partners that we brought on and integrate, at the protocol level to where you can hold our NFT, you can go to their game, and you can log in with it. For some of our partners, they have paid to play games, and so you'll get access to those games without having to pay any more money. And for those who have free to play games, you get access to special things like special items like skins, weapon skins, avatars, things like that. So we've taken it beyond just this NFT that all it does is get you in a game. It'll get you into other games. It'll get you special items. It may even get you on our TV, on our live action TV series or our live action series. So, that's one thing that we try to really focus on is just trying to adapt because just in the last decade, Web3 has grown and evolved and changed so much. And in this last 2 years, we've seen so much growth, so much change. We're seeing things that work and that don't work. And so we're just trying to stay ahead of the curve in a sense by doing things that other people aren't doing and offering as much value as we can because we don't want people to just buy this NFT only to play a game. We're
Yeah.
trying to extend this world beyond the computer screen, and we're trying to really bring value to this NFT. So not only will you get game access to other games, you'll get to run a business in our game, but you might get to be in a live action TV series, and you'll get to do other cool stuff with it. So
The
there's a lot
utility
more
is
to it.
huge.
Yeah, there's
Mhm.
more, but that's just the very like fundamental stuff that we're offering with it.
Love to hear that. I mean, it's you're making this exciting for people, which is what's necessary in order for people to want to get involved. I mean, we've talked about this before on many of our shows. Pixel sat here, we've talked about it. If people need to be excited about what they're doing, they need to want to do it. If you tell me all day long, oh, you need to get this NFT. Why? What about it is going to
Yeah.
make me want to do more with it? What's exciting to me about it? And you're sitting there and you're saying, okay, not just one thing. We're putting so many levels of things in here so that we can appeal to the masses because maybe I would be excited about running a shop, but maybe not. Maybe I'm more excited about the fact that I can go into other platforms with this same NFT. So I mean, there's a lot of different aspects in there that you're showing, and you're making it more appealing to more people. So I absolutely think that that's amazing, and you guys are doing a great job. I can't wait to see it when it comes out.
Yeah, thank you. And if real quick, I'll touch on just a few other things because like that was a big goal of ours is that we did want to make this exciting. We want to give
Mm.
people a reason to get involved with Web3, especially as a gamer, somebody who likes to play various games because our thought process was real gamers aren't tied to just one game. They don't just want to be in one space, don't want to do just one thing. Real gamers will play a plethora of things. And so, we've even taken that to another level to where we've even gamified our mint itself. So, for those of you who may know about NFTs and even if you don't, usually the way that it's set up is that you have, let's say, 10,000 NFTs. They, either are one item or they're various items as far as like a generative project, different pictures. But in most cases, all you do is go to the website and click a button and you mint it. Nothing exciting. Sometimes you get a reveal to means that like you buy the NFT and you don't know what you're gonna get. You don't know what the picture's gonna look like. So it's kind of like, oh, this is fun. I might get a really rare one, or I might get a really cool looking one, or
Like
I
a
might get
Kinder
something
egg.
that's ugly. Yeah, it might just be an egg or something crazy. But so for ours, we decided to take that to another level that we didn't want to just have people come and click one button and yeah, you get the mint, woohoo. We decided to gamify the actual experience. And so we've created what's called the Kingdom Wars, where we have four different kingdoms in our game, humans, elves, a group called Sindarians, and a group called Kindred, and we've decided to put them at war with each other. So we split up our 10,000 mint drop into four 2,500 drops. And so what we're doing is these head-to-head battles where humans versus the Sindarians, and for if one mints out, to a certain level before the other, then let's say the humans they mint out more than the Sindarians or they reach their milestone. Well, they're gonna get their reinforcements. Right? Like this is a war. Those people at war, they have partners, they have reinforcements, they have help. So the humans are paired with the elven. So if we mint out, to a certain milestone, well, that's going to call for the elven now. Now the elven will be dropped. So now you get another set of NFTs that you get to purchase from. Or if the Sindarians, hit their milestone, then the Kidron will come to their aid, to help them in this battle against the humans and the elves. And, so we're trying to make that fun to where it's like you're going to mint an NFT. They all do the same thing in a sense. They're all going to look different though. They all get
Mhm.
cool perks. You get to have this little battle between like, all right, I'm a hardcore Sindarian, so I'm gonna go get my friends to get Sindarians, and we're gonna hit our milestone, so that way Kindred can help, and we can win this kingdom war. because on top of that, we've gamified it to where we're going to give prizes. So as these kingdoms hit their milestones, we're going to give away things. So it's going to be even more exciting because, like, if you're a hardcore elven, or you're going to have to wait until the humans hit their milestone before your elves get dropped. But when the humans hit their milestone, guess what? There's going to be a giveaway. And then, when the elven come out, if they hit a milestone, there's going to be an even bigger giveaway. And so we're doing cool things like that. That, like, being a part of the mint is going to be exciting. It's going to be engaging, and at every opportunity you can find, you'll have a chance to either win a giveaway or have some type of incentive. Because another thing we've done with this drop is we've created a tiered system. So instead of it just being one NFT does one thing, much like a Kickstarter, we've broken it up into 6 tiers. If those of you are familiar with Kickstarters, they have different options of support to where you can do your most basic option and you get, level 1 support, you get a T-shirt, or you can do the level 100 support where you get to go have lunch with the CEO or something like that. And so we've decided to do something similar to where we have each kingdom with 6 tiers, and each tier goes higher up in price. But as it goes higher up in price, you receive much more value. And as each tier gets minted out, we're also doing giveaways as well. So we're basically, throwing everything we can at you, giving you every reason to mint these NFTs, because you're not just going to go click a button, buy an NFT. You get this whole experience, you get all these cool perks. And on top of that, we're just giveaway after giveaway after giveaway. It's crazy.
Hmm. You got me thinking over here, because now I'm sitting here thinking, okay, so when this all comes out, just humor me for a moment here. They come out, we start buying these NFTs. So I'm going to start moving up the ladder. And eventually everyone's going to be like, where's Miggy? I'm going to say, I bought so many NFTs that he's now in his costume in a cage at my house.
Exactly. That might be even one of the perks. Who knows? It'd be like how they have like the dunk stations, like the carnivals and stuff like that.
Sure.
But, we
That's
wanted
too
to create a
funny.
whole experience, just because, as many of you have known in the last couple of years, a lot of crazy stuff happens in the Web3 space. So many people are focused on the financial aspect of it that, they forget to have fun with it. The technology is sound, it works. What
Mm.
happens with the dollar price, doesn't really affect that. But the most important thing, is just to have fun. We're all learning, we're all trying things for the first time, all, trying to do things in a fun new way. And so we wanted this, to be through and through to a gamer's heart, that, like, every aspect of it is going to be engaging, incentivizing, and fun. And so, we're super excited to do this and, be able to at least make our attempt at doing something differently, which,
Mm.
that's a big motto for us. Our founder, he's made that our official motto, is that at Altera we do things differently. And if you look at the stuff we have on, you can absolutely notice that, just from our team, the fact that we are C Corp company, the people that we work with, and the stuff that we're doing, we do everything absolutely different because we don't want to ever rely on the way that other people do things. We want to do things in our own way, in a sense, and see if it works. It's all experimental, so we want to have as much fun as we can too.
You know what? Work is not work when you're having fun. So that's great. It's a great philosophy that you've got going on there. And like you said, the founder's drilling that into you, and you're excited talking about it. Doug's excited that we're talking about it. So and honestly, I'm excited hearing you talk about it, because now I want to see it. You've got me interested on several levels to see what comes next. So I love that.
No, it's great. I mean, I get excited about it because it's something different. Like, even if I wasn't working with Altera and I heard this, I'd be like, this would be something that I would want to participate in, just because it's like, we've seen everybody do the cookie cutter templates, you
Mm.
know, PFP project, 1,000 pop, we try to sell out. That's it. And like I said, we want to have fun. We want to be different. We want to stand out. And we also want to, bring awareness to all the other cool projects and things that are going on. We don't want to just showcase what we're doing. We want to showcase what our alphas are doing, what they have going on. We want to showcase what our partners are doing, what they have going on. We really want to push the boundaries for just interoperability, doing things different than how traditional gaming and traditional companies do, because in as you know it, most companies don't work together. Especially game studios, they don't work together. They just want to do their own thing, make their own money. And we're in a unique position in time that with this technology, we're enabled to do things that we want to do. And what we want to do is help encourage growth and expansion. And in order to do that, we have to support other projects. We have to support other games and,
Mm.
just get more eyes and get more people involved as best we can.
Sure, I love that. Let me ask you. So I've known you for a while. We've talked about several things when you've been on the show at different times. I also talked to you when you were on my previous show. So talk about the different projects that you've been involved in. Let me ask you about some of the stuff that you were involved in and see where it is now. Almost like a little, catch up on some of the older stuff. What happened with Masters of Bitcoin?
Oh man. I think that I've seen them still around. My only involvement was working for a different project that was focused on Web3 marketing. They
Mm,
were trying to become the turnkey solution, for Web3 marketing that not only could we promote your project, we could build the smart contracts, we can get you plugged into metaverses, we can source you into land, we can create your NFTs. And so we did that for Master of the Bitcoin. And my role mainly was, as the promoter, as the marketer. And I still see them around, but I think with many projects, especially not having, or I guess not being so dynamic, it's hard for them to really keep up with the space as it changes. But
absolutely,
I've
yeah.
seen them around, so I do know they're still working. They're still trying to continue, because their whole thing was the story,
Mm,
finding all these influential people in the space, turning into these different
turning them into
characters.
NFTs. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were all like all cool characters. They had their own comic story and like their own little world. And so they're still doing that. I think it's just slowed down for them a bit, but happy to see them still around because there are other projects, that I've started this journey with and they aren't around. And there's other projects that we've seen out there that, have just completely disappeared. And so I
Mm,
think for Master of the Bitcoin, their focus was kind of similar to ours. It was like they wanted to have fun, thought what they were doing was fun. So,
mm.
they enjoy it and they're still pushing it. They're
It's
still
just a
here.
little bit smaller of a they're kind of pigeonholed there. So you mentioned
Exactly.
a fun fact though. You're talking about Web3 marketing in general. So how do you envision? So obviously, if you're in here and you're talking to all of us, we're involved in VR. We're involved in gaming on some level, even if you don't want to consider this platform as a game, but how do you market like something like Altera and everything, to people who are not involved in VR and Web3 and gaming? Like, how do you push that envelope further? How do you get out there to people who are not really all that well versed in Web3 and say, hey, come join us, come play this game because we offer all of this? Because there's a lot of people out there who don't know what an NFT is or don't understand how it works. And so, like, you're trying to, push Altera because it has all these amazing things built into it. How do you market that out there to people who maybe don't understand it so much?
Well, for the one thing, as far as our game and the game development, one thing that we do like to always talk about is that we are a traditional gaming studio and we are building a traditional game. Our aim is not to compete with Web3 games. Our aim is to compete with traditional Web2 games. So a big focus
Okay.
for us is non-Web3 people. Now, with this NFT specifically, this is geared towards more Web3. One thing that we've done, we've had to be really creative on how we make this approach. Like you said, we want to be able to reach more people beyond the Web3 space. And so, in addition to, focusing on building a traditional game, we are focused on connecting with people who are outside of the Web3 space. So, one thing that we've done is that we've spun off a events company um, for two reasons. One, because we wanted to be creative with our funding. We didn't want to rely on NFTs. So this guild membership NFT will be, as far as I know, most one of the only, if not the only NFT drop that we do. We're not in the business of selling NFTs. We're just
Hmm.
doing this NFT because it activates earning mechanisms. So in the future, the way our NFTs will work, those will be made, those will happen in game. Those will happen in our in-game market with our with our guild member holders and our game players. But we won't be selling NFTs to the community. The community will be selling NFTs to each other in a sense. And so because of that, we wanted to make sure that we had the money to do this. It's very expensive to create the kind of game that we're creating. And our whole goal is to instill value. So the more money we can make by different means, the more value we can instill in this game and into the ecosystem. And so we created an events company, and we decided to really, get involved into the real world and grow the experience of our game beyond the PC. And so what we have coming up now is what's called the Altera Life Festival. So because of the nature of our game, we're building an MMORPG. This is a fantasy type um RPG game. You can imagine World of Warcraft, or those of you who aren't gamers, like Lord of the Rings, those style of community. And so one thing that does exist right now are Renaissance festivals and LARPing, live action role play. These are
Mm.
still very substantial communities. You know, they are out there. There are people going out to these Renaissance festivals, getting dressed up and, speaking in old English and going and battling in suits and things like that. And there's also people in the LARPing community who same thing. They get dressed up, they go basically bring Dungeons and Dragons to life. And so we've partnered with a really great team to not only throw a Renaissance type festival that will be based on our game. The reason why it's called the Alteran Light Festival, because we're also going to host Utah's largest drone show. And so
Oh,
this was
wow.
important to us because, as you said, this was a way for us to engage with people who were not Web3. Like, this is not a Web3 event. This is a light show and a drone show and Renaissance festival. So this appeals to, again, people who like to LARP, people who like to go to Renaissance festivals, and people who cosplay. So as many of you can imagine, that is a pretty large community out there, and not just one, but a multitude of communities. So where we are appealing to them is in that aspect that, hey, this has to do with our game, yes. But you don't have to be a gamer to come to this festival. If you're somebody who likes to LARP, guess what? This is a perfect festival for you. If you're somebody who likes to cosplay, guess what? This is a perfect festival for you. Even like there are people out there who put on suits of armor and go bang each other with swords and stuff, like, for real. So it's a perfect place for them too. And so this is our way to reach out to the community in the world that isn't involved in Web3, that, may not necessarily be involved with gaming. Even though we will have,
Mm.
real life quests, you will be able to do things in the festival that will relate to our game. So
Hmm.
it's just kind of like we're just stacking up, the type of communities where it's like, hey, if you're a gamer who likes Renaissance festivals, likes to LARP and likes drones, like, this is perfect for you. If you're not, well, that's cool too. If you just like dressing up and going to places like that, this is a place for you. If you like, just medieval type theme stuff, well, guess what? This is a place for you. And so we've partnered with a couple good sponsors, and one of our sponsors is a dating app in Utah. And so what they have with their dating app, they have a massive database of
Interesting
users.
first
They
date.
host uh, yeah, it's like a dating app that's like really popular in Utah. I forget what it's called. Not like Tinder, more like, a regular dating app where, they have a bunch of people on it. And one thing that they do is they host these this bulletin board with date night options. And so what they're going to do for us is the Altera Light Festival is going to be a date night. So let's say you don't even like any of those things, but hey, you're on this dating app, you meet this girl, you want to have a good dating experience. Well, guess what is a pretty cool place to go? A Renaissance Festival. Oh, that'd be fun, exciting, and very different. And so, we're appealing to a whole spectrum of people, may not be gamers for one, or definitely people who are not into Web3. Now, if they are, it's a bonus. That's the
Mm.
way that we've decided to really engage with people at different levels to get them involved, because, it's just going to take one person who doesn't care about gaming or Web3 to come to our Renaissance Festival and be like, and really dig into to what's going on and find out and be like, oh, cool. Who's throwing this? What's going on? Oh, you guys are a game? oh, great, I want to check out the game. And oh, what's this Web3 stuff? Oh, NFTs, crypto. It begins this whole rabbit hole, and so that's where we're really attacking that. And in addition to that, we are going to host gaming conferences as well, gaming events. But as far as like reaching, regular people, we're going to be hosting these Renaissance festivals, and we're not just limited to that. That's just something we're focusing on now because it's a way to hit a lot. It's like we can knock out a lot of things with just with this one fest, but you never
Mhm.
know. We may just do other types of festivals. Like I said, we do things differently, so we're gonna always look for the most innovative, exciting, and engaging way to get people into this space who may have never even heard of Web3 or even considered getting involved with games.
Love the creative marketing ideas. Love it. It's
Yeah,
great.
it's been great.
So let's we have quite a few people here in the audience listening to you right now. I want to put up the raise hand feature if anybody has any questions they'd like to ask you about, whether it's about game development or about, what's happening, maybe just, about the process that you've gone through along the way. So if you look down, the raise hand feature is up on your left hand side.
We have a question from Doug. Hi, Doug.
Hey, can you hear me?
We can. Hey,
Yes.
Doug.
Agree.
Oh, this is great. This is a fantastic space. This is a question for both of you guys. Is um how do you feel about the metaverse in general? Like you said, this space is actually shutting down. You have to have a new one, I guess. And
Mhm.
also, this is a question for both you guys. How do you feel like the metaverse is going to actually be more like gamified or video games? Like Altera sounds very like metaversey where you can go in there and have your own shop and stuff. Do you think that the metaverse, a lot of its success in the future might be actually from video games? People are very obsessed with like Grand Theft Auto, which is kind of like its own metaverse, right?
Yeah.
You want to go
Yeah.
first?
No. Sure. I think what we see now with games. Uh, Even though people don't realize it, there are a lot of good models, especially when you talk about economically. These games we know now, like World of Warcraft and things like that, and like you said, Grand Theft Auto, they have real life models, um, of functionality and economics. And I think, as things start to evolve, we're really going to be able to learn from these models and apply them to not just the gaming space, but to real life. So I think eventually what we'll see is a merge of like gamification to a level where it is not just a game for fun, it's a metaverse or a game that involves your job or it involves education, or something to where it's like this is just not just in here, but it's also translates to real world because we're seeing a lot of great things coming out of this games, and I think as this technology changes with Web3, we're going to be able to learn from it. And I think metaverses will be substantial because it really opens the door for connectivity, especially for engagement. Like
Mhm.
being able to see things. I can see my hands in front of me. I can move my fingers. I can see you. I'm in a chair, even though I'm half off of it. Like these are real world things. You know what I mean? Like this is a real type of experience. Our eyeballs are really being sucked into this space where it's almost like reality itself. And as that matures and that gets better, I think in combination with these real good economic models that, you know, it'll kind of come together. And especially for people who don't have physical access to things, be able to go out and experience the real world. Their only option may be to be in a metaverse. But as of now, with places like this where there are not very many good options, like I loved having the space, and it definitely makes me sad to see this go away for now. To which I hope they do, maybe end up bringing it back later. I think, it's a good starting point. And as it grows, we'll see more spaces like this, that will, create more opportunities for people to engage with each other and, be able to interact.
Mm. I think, One thing that I think as well, like when you ask about, where I think this is going and how it's going to be, embraced, I feel that the metaverse itself, gaming, I feel like gaming is almost like the foundation of where everything started from. But I feel like it's grown so far and there's so much more in it now because between games and business and social apps and all of the different aspects coming together, I think gaming will always be a giant piece of it. But as people become more comfortable in VR, as it becomes more widely adopted and more people either have headsets or are going in on their PCs, however they're engaging in it, what I kind of feel is that this is actually going to start to, as a whole, the metaverse is going to start to emulate real life more so than it does right now. I feel like, in your real life, you wake up in the morning, most people go to a job, you spend time with your family and friends, you go out and you play games, whether you're going golfing, you're going to a movie, whatever it is that you do. Most of those things are now available in here in the metaverse. And so this is no longer like, oh, this is just VR. This is actually, instead of it being a virtual reality, it's your second reality. And I feel like that the gaming piece of it is going to become more like, yes, we come in here and we play games. Like some of us might get on Pop One, some of us might go over to VR Chat and play, a few of the games over there. But I feel like as this becomes more widely adopted, we're going to network with so many more people and going over and playing games, whether it's a role playing game where you actually start, becoming more creative as you like with Dungeons and Dragons, you'd have to have a scenario and how do you progress with this and,
Mm.
making people work together as teams. I feel like that collaboration of everybody together on the fun end of it is going to trickle over into the business end of it because you're going to meet all these people, whether people want to get involved in creating more, whether it's games, worlds, anything else, or if you just end up connecting with someone that you have something in common with, and then that trickles out into the rest of the metaverse because you could meet somebody, from my other show, like all the people who were on that show were all involved in NFTs, totally different walks of life, all joined by a
Mhm.
common bond. And then, people have connected on there and met up with each other in real life and done all these different things. Gaming's the same way. People were used to thinking of gaming as, the Xbox and the PS2s and all the, all of that stuff before they had the internet connecting them. People just played in their house by themselves, or friends came over and you sat around in your living room together. All of a sudden, people are connecting on the internet. It's a whole game changer. Now you're playing games every night with people all over the world, but you were playing sitting in front of your TV. You come into here in virtual reality, and like you were saying, you're sitting here looking all this, and this is real. The immersive experience in here, just it's a game changer all the way around. And I just feel like the gaming is always going to be the foundation of everything that's going on in here, but that it's going to expand so much larger with all the other aspects coming together, that gaming will just be a piece of the metaverse. Like, hey, what are you doing Friday? Want to go golfing? And we're just going to go do it in here instead of in real life. Like it's just going to be second nature.
Right. No, I like that you said that because one thing I can't remember if we talked about it when we did the gaming talk. I think I did bring it up though. There's a documentary called The Human Playground, and
Mm.
what their whole consensus was is that gaming is genetically embedded in us. Like this isn't, we know gaming as we know gaming because this is the modern times. And for most of us, we are fortunate enough that we have the luxury of playing a game for fun. Like you said, we can come in here and enjoy and have a good time. But before technology, before, board games, there were games for functionality. There were games that were real life scenarios, games that taught tribes and groups of people how to live. Um, Games structured for war. People, they're war games. People killed each other, went to battle, but the way they taught their people how to fight and essentially work in an army was playing games. Game playing games, gaming like that has always been with us. I mean, animals play. Like play is at a core. Play is genetically a part of us. And you can't have play without games. It's just the way games have evolved, has changed from
Mhm.
functional, life dependent things to where now we're doing it for fun, we're doing it for business, we're doing it for jobs. No matter what, it'll continue to evolve as we evolve. And even as we evolve and grow and change, no matter what, one thing that remain with us as human beings is that we're always going to play games. Doesn't matter
Mm.
what type of game it is. Like you said, games will always be a part of our life. It'll just change. And I think you're right. I think we'll see more of like this world being involved because it's part of the growth of technology for sure.
Mhm.
Good question, Doug. Appreciate you.
Any other questions?
My face on right. Man, y'all got to watch that documentary. It's so good. Honestly, like when I saw that, oh, sorry, is there a question?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, can I ask a question to the rest of the audience? I want to see a raise of hands of how many people here are NFT holders. Any who holds NFTs here? Anyone? No.
She does
Yeah,
in the
like
back.
oh, she does on the back. You got like metaverse maxis out here. You're like super metaversey, but only one NFT holder. Okay, how many people here like play video games like once in a while or fairly often? Anybody? Oh, I got hearts there. I see hearts. See
See a
hearts.
hand.
Some hands. There's some
Hearts,
hearts
hearts.
there. I'm just interested because I feel like so much because what we've seen in NFT projects is that like now even NFT projects are becoming very gamified. Gaming, I think, is going to be heavily involved in so much of what we do, and even more so in the past, I think. And it's just interesting to see how many people are involved in what, and what kind of the audience here is for your show in the metaverse, and especially because we're talking about those projects. But I think as we go forward, I mean, I personally onboard people to Web3 and crypto and NFTs constantly, and I think this example of Altera, of like a video game that's going more into even Web2 and like these live action events, it's gonna be really fun to see how many people are attracted to it, have fun with it and stuff. And I expected like a lot more people here to own NFTs. So you've got a very big cross section of people that are not just like a bunch of degens. They might be upright citizens that are just involved in many facets of life, right? Because
Yes.
Miggy and I are often on Twitter Spaces where it's like almost primarily NFT holders,
All
right?
gamers.
So it's
So
really
Yeah,
cool to be
degenerate.
NFTs. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
this is
I'm just saying
the
it's nice to be in a space where there's different kind of people.
well, this show, Doug, I know this is your first time here, but this show was actually spawned out of. I used to host a show called Yummy NFTs, and we just talked a lot about all NFTs. And I had a lot of people come up afterwards and say, like, I really enjoyed your show. I wish I understood what you were talking about when you throw all this terminology around and stuff. So I thought it would be a great idea to, throw together a show that covered all the basics of all the different, whether it's Web3, NFTs, utility, crypto, a little bit of everything. So gaming is just like one piece of that. And Miggy has been amazing at coming on and teaching us more about it because we don't have an audience here that is heavily into knowing the technical end of gaming. We do try to keep the show kind of on a more even keeled level so that everybody can kind of get something out of it. But we do have, we've definitely had episodes on here about NFTs and about utility. For myself personally, I find the utility piece of NFTs extremely interesting. I love the way that different groups are going in different directions with it, whether it's a music NFT, art NFT, gaming NFTs. There's so much possibility out there for all of this stuff. So for me, that's kind of, my favorite topic to talk about. But we do encompass a little bit of everything on the show.
Yeah, I love how dynamic the audience can be in this space specifically. Because I remember one time I was in the space with Jerome with what's his blockchain universe? Is that
Yes.
what he had?
Hmm. Yep.
And
Yep.
we were playing a game that he designed. and I forget, or we were doing a show or something. It was like an educational thing. I can't remember. But we were in AltSpace, just like this, hanging out, checking out our digital hands, all that stuff. And all of a sudden, this avatar comes in, and it's like a grandma avatar. And turns out it was legit a grandma. She was like, "Oh yeah, I'm 70 years old, and I'm just here to, saw this was open, and I just wanted to come in and check it out. I heard you guys talking about this." And it's just like, wow, like the level of engagement from different people, like you said, who are not
Very
degenerate
diverse.
Twitter NFT people. They're just some
Mm.
common folks who she got access to a technology that she was checking out. She put the headset on and she decided to come into the world and hang out with us. And she was a 70-year-old grandma, in her grandma avatar on a headset, hanging out in virtual. Could you imagine for somebody like her to be able to come into a space like this and the evolution of technology she's been able to see? And not only that, she participated. Like, it was so
It's
cool.
amazing.
I loved it. Yeah, it was awesome.
I love the diversity in here is amazing. You've got all walks of life, you've got all ages. It's pretty amazing what you can accomplish in here. So, we are at the top of the hour, and we do, like I mentioned before, only have a couple of weeks left, but we are bringing Crypto City over to one of the new platforms. So, as we get closer, we'll keep you guys posted. In the meantime, if you're not following Crypto City on social media, check out our Instagram. The link tree's on there with all of our socials, and you can kind of stay in touch with us until we figure out what platform we're going to be finally settled on. Looks like we're probably leaning towards spatial for now, and possibly, VR chat down the road. But I think spatial right now is the right move for us, right now. And Miggy will still be coming on as a guest periodically on our show. So that's some reason for you guys to keep coming back. And we will be posting, in addition, during this transition, while we will probably have a couple of weeks off in between while we get the new place set up. And during that time, if anything that's newsworthy comes on across my screen, I'm going to be posting that on the Crypto City Instagram as well. And on Facebook. So check us out. If you're not on our Discord, join the Discord. You have some interesting things that you think we should be sharing, send it to us. I'll push it out there. We definitely want the community involvement. So, Miggy, thank you so much for coming on. Loved hearing about all this new information tonight. Thank you, Doug, for your participation. And thank you to all of you for joining us tonight. And we will see you all next week. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate you for being here. Listen to me blab. Always a pleasure to be here.
We always love listening to you.
Dougie Doug with the coat. That's how I knew it was you, man. The coat. In real life, he lives in a fur coat all the time. No joke. No matter the season.